A peasant waits for permission. A king takes what's his. In 1513, a disgraced diplomat wrote a letter so dangerous it was banned by the Pope. Inside were secrets that kings whispered in shadows: how to manipulate, how to dominate, how to rule without mercy. Today, I am going to reveal the psychological strategies Machiavelli taught the most powerful men in history. By the end of this video, you'll never think like a victim again. But I must warn you, once you see the game being played, you can't unsee it. The Fall of a Master. Florence, 1513. Niccolò Machiavelli sits in a dark cell, falsely accused of conspiracy. His body bears the marks of torture, the strappado, where his arms were tied behind his back and he was dropped from a height, dislocating his shoulders. This wasn't supposed to happen to him. He had served Florence for 14 years as a diplomat and secretary. He had negotiated with kings, studied the mechanics of power up close, and learned the hidden language that rulers speak. But power had shifted. The Medici family returned to Florence, and Machiavelli, loyal to the old republic, was suddenly expendable. One day, you are advising princes. The next, you are in chains. Here's where the peasant and the king diverge. A peasant, broken by this betrayal, would have accepted his fate. He would have blamed fortune, cursed the world's injustice, and died bitter and forgotten. But Machiavelli? He understood something most people never grasp. Power doesn't care about fairness. It only respects those who understand its rules. Exiled to his small farm, banned from politics, Machiavelli did something extraordinary. Every evening, he would change from his mud-stained peasant clothes into the formal robes of his former office. Then, in that tiny room, he would have imaginary conversations with the great minds of history: Caesar, Alexander, Romulus. And from these conversations, he extracted the brutal truths that would become The Prince, a book so honest about power that it terrified the powerful themselves. The question is, why did this book threaten kings? Because Machiavelli revealed what they wanted to keep secret. He showed that power isn't divine, magical, or deserved. It's a skill, a technology, and anyone, even a peasant, could learn it. The peasant mindset versus the king mindset. Before we dive into Machiavelli's strategies, you need to understand the fundamental difference between how a peasant thinks and how a king thinks. The peasant believes the world should be fair. He operates on a childlike moral framework. I worked hard, so I should be rewarded. I was kind, so people should be kind to me. I followed the rules, so I deserve success. When life doesn't deliver on this contract, the peasant feels victimized. He blames external forces, the economy, his boss, his family, society. He waits for someone to notice his suffering and grant him justice. The king understands the world is not fair, and uses this to his advantage. He doesn't complain about the rules. He learns them, masters them, and exploits them. He knows that morality is a tool, not a constraint. When morality serves his goals, he's the most virtuous man alive. When it doesn't, he sets it aside without guilt. Machiavelli writes, a man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets with what destroys him among so much that is evil. Translation: if you play by the moral rules while everyone else cheats, you don't become a saint. You become a casualty. This is the first uncomfortable truth. The moral high ground is often just the killing ground. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you lost an opportunity because you were too nice? How many times has someone less qualified but more aggressive taken what you deserved? How many times have you been manipulated by someone who understood power better than you? That's the peasant tax. The price you pay for not understanding the game. Now, Machiavelli isn't saying be evil for evil's sake. He's saying something far more nuanced. A king understands that reputation and reality are two different games, and you must win both. A peasant thinks, I'll be good and hope people notice. A king thinks, I'll appear good while being strategically ruthless when necessary. This is why Machiavelli advises, everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Your public image is a tool. Your private strategy is what actually delivers results. Let me give you a modern example. You have a coworker who takes credit for your ideas. The peasant approach? Complain to HR, hope for justice, feel bitter when nothing changes. The king approach? Publicly praise the coworker for building on your framework, making it impossible for them to take credit next time, while privately documenting everything and positioning yourself as indispensable to leadership. See the difference? The peasant demands fairness. The king creates outcomes. Machiavelli's laws of power. Now let's get into Machiavelli's actual strategies, the dark psychology that separates those who rule from those who serve. Law 1. Fear versus love. Choose fear. Machiavelli's most controversial principle. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Why? Because fear is reliable. Love is fickle. People who love you will abandon you when it's convenient. People who fear you will think twice before betraying you. Love depends on the other person's feelings, something you can't control. Fear depends on consequences, something you can absolutely control. But here's the nuance peasants miss. Machiavelli isn't saying be a tyrant. He's saying never let compassion make you weak. A king shows mercy strategically, to inspire loyalty and demonstrate magnanimity. But he never shows mercy that invites exploitation. When someone crosses a line, the response must be swift and memorable, so others learn the boundary. In your life, if someone disrespects you once and you do nothing, you've taught them you are safe to disrespect. If you respond decisively, cutting them off, exposing their behavior, or outmaneuvering them, you've established a boundary that others will respect. Law 2. The lion and the fox. Machiavelli says a prince must be both lion and fox. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. The lion represents force, direct power, intimidation, strength. The fox represents cunning, strategy, deception, manipulation. Peasants try to be one or the other. Kings master both. When to be the lion? When someone challenges your authority directly, when a situation requires decisive action, when ambiguity would show weakness. When to be the fox? When you are outmatched in direct confrontation, when long-term strategy beats short-term victory, when you can achieve more through influence than force. Real-world example. In negotiations, the peasant either caves immediately, no lion, or makes aggressive demands and burns bridges, no fox. The king? He strategically concedes minor points to seem reasonable, fox, while holding firm on non-negotiables with calm certainty, lion. Law 3. Appear weak when strong, strong when weak. This is pure dark psychology. Your opponent's perception of you matters more than the reality. When you are in a position of strength, appearing humble and vulnerable disarms rivals. They underestimate you, lower their guard, and you strike when they are exposed. When you are in a position of weakness, projecting confidence and strength makes enemies hesitate. They second-guess themselves, wondering what advantage you are hiding. Machiavelli observed this in warfare constantly. Armies that looked desperate often lured enemies into traps. Armies that looked invincible won battles through intimidation alone. In your career, when you're about to make a major move, a promotion, a launch, a negotiation, don't advertise your advantages. Let others underestimate you. Then when you win, it seems effortless. When you are vulnerable, losing clients, facing setbacks, double down on confident communication. Never let them smell blood in the water. Law 4. The virtue of necessity. Here's where Machiavelli gets really dark. A prince must have no other objective or thought but war and its methods. He's not literally saying start wars. He's saying always be prepared for conflict. The peasant believes peace is the natural state. He lets his guard down, trusts too easily, and is shocked when betrayed. The king knows that conflict is inevitable. Competition, betrayal, power struggles. These are features of life, not bugs. So the king always maintains three things: resources, money, skills, allies that can be deployed when conflict arises, intelligence, information about rivals, markets, changing conditions, optionality, multiple paths to victory, never dependent on one strategy. This is why Machiavelli says the prince should constantly study war, not because he loves violence, but because the prepared survive and the unprepared become casualties. In your life, are you building skills that make you indispensable? Are you networking before you need favors? Are you saving money before crisis hits? Or are you living like a peasant, hoping everything works out? Law 5. Destroy your enemies completely, or make them allies. Machiavelli observed something brutal: men ought either to be indulged or utterly destroyed, because they can avenge slight injuries but not severe ones. The peasant makes enemies through petty actions, then leaves them strong enough to retaliate. The king either neutralizes threats completely or converts them into assets. Think about it. If you slight someone, undercut them, insult them, take something from them, but leave them with power, you've created a resentful enemy who will wait for their moment. Better options. Option A. destruction remove their ability to harm you. This doesn't mean violence, it means removing them from your professional network, exposing their incompetence, or simply ensuring they have no leverage over you. Option B, conversion, turn them into an ally. The best allies are former enemies who recognize your power and switch sides. They understand you, respect your capabilities, and become fiercely loyal to avoid becoming enemies again. Never do the peasant move, half measures that create permanent enemies with the means to strike back. The illusion of virtu now. After all these dark strategies, you might ask, doesn't this make you a terrible person? And here's Machiavelli's genius answer. Who cares what you are? Only what you appear to be. He writes, a prince should seem to be compassionate, faithful, humane, honest, and religious, and should actually be so. But he should have his mind so trained that when it is necessary not to practice these virtues, he can change to the opposite. This is the ultimate king mindset. Morality is a tool for reputation, not a constraint on action. The peasant thinks in absolutes. I'm a good person, or I'm a bad person. This rigid identity makes him predictable, exploitable, and weak. The king thinks in outcomes. What does this situation require? What will achieve my goal while maintaining my reputation? Sometimes the most ethical action is ruthlessness. Firing an incompetent employee protects 10 others. Cutting off a toxic friend protects your mental health. Responding aggressively to a threat prevents future attacks. And sometimes the most strategic action is compassion. Forgiving a subordinate's mistake builds loyalty. Showing vulnerability creates connection. Praising a rival publicly neutralizes their hostility. The king has a flexible morality calibrated to results. The peasant has a rigid morality that limits his options. But, and this is crucial, you must appear consistently virtuous. Why? Because society runs on shared fictions. Everyone is playing the game, but everyone pretends they are not. The kings who win are those who play hardball while maintaining the appearance of fair play. This is why Machiavelli emphasizes, never let people see the calculation. When you help someone, frame it as kindness, not strategy. When you eliminate a rival, frame it as unfortunate necessity, not ambition. When you take power, frame it as reluctant duty, not hunger. The peasant is honest about his ambitions and gets punished for it. The king is strategic about his image and gets rewarded for it. Look at any successful person, politician, CEO, influencer. They all master this game. They appear humble while being fiercely ambitious. They appear collaborative while being highly competitive. They appear principled while being strategically flexible. That's not hypocrisy. That's intelligence. The warning, use wisely. Before we finish, I need to give you the warning Machiavelli himself would give. These strategies are powerful, and power without wisdom is destruction. Machiavelli wrote The Prince for rulers who had responsibilities, who needed to protect states, manage resources, and ensure stability. His ruthlessness served a purpose beyond ego. If you use these strategies purely for selfish gain, with no larger purpose, you'll become exactly what Machiavelli warned against, a tyrant who creates so many enemies that they inevitably conspire to destroy him. The difference between a king and a tyrant isn't their methods, it's their purpose. A king uses power to build something larger than himself. A business, a family legacy, a community, a work of art. His strategic ruthlessness serves a constructive vision. A tyrant uses power only to feed his ego. He crushes people for sport, betrays allies for minor gains, and ultimately collapses under the weight of accumulated enemies. So as you apply these principles, ask yourself, what am I building? Are you thinking like a king, playing the long game, building something meaningful, using strategy to protect what matters? Or are you thinking like a tyrant, indulging short-term ego, creating enemies carelessly, destroying more than you create? The techniques are neutral. Your purpose determines whether you become a ruler people respect or a cautionary tale. Machiavelli himself, despite his reputation, served his city loyally for decades. His ruthless advice was aimed at creating strong, stable states, not empowering sociopaths. Use these tools wisely. Use them to protect yourself, advance your legitimate goals, and build something meaningful. Don't use them to become the villain in someone else's story. The transformation. So how do you actually start thinking like a king? It begins with a fundamental shift in perspective. Step 1. Accept that the world is immoral. Stop waiting for fairness. Stop expecting people to reward virtue. Stop believing that hard work alone guarantees success. The universe doesn't operate on justice, it operates on cause and effect. Step 2. Study power dynamics obsessively. In every interaction, ask, who has power here? What do they want? What leverage exists? How could this be manipulated? Not because you'll always manipulate, but because you need to see the game being played. Step 3. Build your resources. Kings have options. Peasants have desperation. Start accumulating skills that are rare and valuable, relationships with powerful people, money that buys freedom, knowledge that provides advantages. Step 4. Control your image ruthlessly. Decide how you want to be perceived, then align every public action with that image. Let people see what serves your goals. Hide what doesn't. This isn't lying, it's strategic disclosure. Step 5. Act decisively when necessary. Peasants agonize over decisions, seeking perfect solutions. Kings choose, commit, and adjust. When someone crosses you, when an opportunity appears, when danger emerges, act swiftly and completely. Step 6. Study the masters. Read Machiavelli, obviously. But also study Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Observe how successful people actually operate, not how they claim to operate. Analyze power moves in politics, business, and history. The beautiful and terrifying truth is this: these skills can be learned. You weren't born with royal blood, but you can develop a royal mind. It requires brutal honesty about human nature. It requires setting aside comforting illusions. It requires accepting that power plays by its own rules, rules that don't care about your feelings or your moral preferences. But once you make that shift, once you start seeing the world as it is rather than how you wish it were, everything changes. You stop feeling like a victim. You start feeling like a player. You stop reacting to life. You start shaping it. You stop thinking like a peasant. You start thinking like a king. If this video opened your eyes to how power really works, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every week, I break down dark psychology principles that successful people use but never talk about openly. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one situation where you've been playing the peasant instead of the king? Where have you been waiting for fairness instead of creating your own advantages? And if you want to go deeper into these strategies, check out the video I've linked above on Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. It's the modern continuation of everything Machiavelli started. Remember, the game is being played whether you participate or not. The only question is, are you a piece on the board, or are you the one moving the pieces? Think like a king. Act like a king. Become a king. I'll see you in the next one.